Welcome everyone to this afternoon's celebration. It's going to be an amazing afternoon. It's great to see you all here. I hope you've had lovely lunches and you're ready for what's going to happen here in front of us. We're going to see some amazing people walk across this stage. Let me start the ceremony with our formal words. By the authority given to the statutes of the Open University, I declare this congregation open for the conferment of degrees and the presentation of graduates. Distinguished guests, graduates, friends of the University, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to the 27th of the Open University's degree ceremonies being held in 2015. We're delighted to be welcoming principals of other Scottish universities and colleges, heads of other educational bodies and councils, representatives of the Scottish Government, and Open University honorary graduates, all of whom have found time in their very busy diaries to be with us today. It's also my great pleasure to welcome our honorary graduates, Dr. Heather Reid and Ms. Karen McClusky. We're delighted to be able to honour them here today. Each year, the Open University awards over 14,000 degrees, and throughout 2015, more than 8,000 of those graduates are being presented for their qualifications at degree ceremonies such as this one today in Edinburgh. These are being held across England, also in Belfast, Cardiff and Dublin. This illustrates the extraordinary scale, scope and reach of the Open University. It goes without saying that today is a very important occasion in the life of you, our graduates, your families and loved ones, as well as the university staff who I hope you will feel have nurtured and supported you. You could be forgiven for feeling that the occasion is so important that it needs to be solemn. You'd be quite wrong. In every sense, this is an afternoon of celebration. So we're all going to be very disappointed if anyone crosses the stage today to anything less than thunderous applause or whatever other way you choose to express your enthusiasm and support. So, with that in mind, I think a practice is in order. Let's just see how good that thunderous applause is going to sound. So what I'd like to have happen is if the graduates could all please stand, and let's get the audience a practice go at congratulating you. Bad, but I've already done a ceremony this morning and I think you could potentially do better than that. Don't you? I think you could. Graduates, you're going to have to stand again. It's good, I get to tell them stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. Okay, now this time graduates, find your family and maybe when they see you they will shout a little louder. Okay, that was much, much better. You can sit back down now. Oh, maybe you should. No, it's okay, stay down. Actually, that sounded so much better. All right, so today's ceremony is going to begin with the awarding of the honorary degree of Doctor of the University to Dr. Heather Reid. Professor Hazel Reimer, our Dean and Director of Studies in the Faculty of Science, will present Dr. Reid, who will then sign our honorary graduates book and make a short reply. Following this, we'll see the presentation of those graduates who've gained a higher degree and who've been able to join us here today. They'll be presented by Mrs. Lucy MacLeod, the Deputy Director of Students here at the Open University in Scotland. We'll then see the awarding of the honorary degree of Master of the University to Ms. Karen McClusky. Mr. John Darcy, our Acting Director at the Open University in Scotland, will present Ms. McClusky, who will then also sign our honorary graduates book and make her reply. Then we will continue our presentation of graduates with those who've gained their first degrees, and they'll be presented by Dr. Martha Cardell, who's the Deputy Director of Learning and Teaching Curriculum here in Scotland. And then to conclude the ceremony, if there's enough time, and we're not feeling a bit parched and ready for that champagne, I'll give you an address as well. So without further ado, let us continue, and I will invite Professor Reimer and Dr. Reid to stand.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, graduates, guests, Dr. Heather Reid, or should I say Heather the Weather, is a physicist and meteorologist, best known for her long career as BBC Scotland's chief weather forecaster and presenter, who now uses her expertise and public profile to raise awareness of climate change among young people. Born in Paisley, Heather read physics at Edinburgh University and then studied for a master's degree in image processing in the meteorology department. She began working for the UK Met Office in 1993, interpreting satellite imagery, and then moved to presenting the weather on BBC Scotland, where she became a well-respected and much-loved national figure. During her 15 years at the BBC, Heather used her public platform as a way of engaging the public, particularly young people, with science, making regular appearances at schools and science festivals to stress the importance of scientific literacy. She believes that the scientific community has a responsibility and an obligation to the broader community, reaching out and raising awareness of the implications of new scientific findings in everything from health to the environment and the economy. This is particularly important in Scotland, where scientific output makes a huge contribution to national income. Since leaving the BBC, she's developed her work further as an educational consultant, specialising in climate change, sustainability and renewable energy. She's passionate about attracting young people to the STEM subjects, that's science, technology, engineering and mathematics, as they're so crucial to our future economic and socio-economic prospects. She believes that the weather offers a uniquely relevant way to engage their attention, especially as it offers an interdisciplinary approach which brings different topics and issues together. Heather works tirelessly to interest young people in science, to equip them to understand and combat the challenges of climate change, and to prepare them to take advantage of the new opportunities in the renewable energy sector. She inspired a range of teaching and learning resources known as Heather's Hut, in which primary school children explore the potential inherent in wind, hydro and solar electricity while developing scientific and practical skills. She's acutely aware of the challenges of recruiting young women in particular to physics, particularly through appealing and effective teaching methods, and has been held up as a role model for future female physicists. She's been honoured with a Kelvin Medal from the Institute of Physics and was awarded an OBE for services to physics. And for 2 years, she served as chair of the Institute of Physics in Scotland, and she remains a fellow of the Royal Meteorological Society. She's an honorary lecturer in physics at Glasgow University and a member of the Scottish Government's Science and Engineering Education Advisory Board. Heather has a long-standing involvement with the Glasgow Science Centre, particularly in developing its education and outreach work, and currently serves as a trustee and non-executive director. In her campaigning work to raise awareness of the importance of climate change and to attract young people to science, Heather makes a very practical contribution to some of the most pressing questions facing the country today. With her engaging and accessible style, Heather is uniquely placed to support the next generation of scientists in facing up to these challenges. So we're delighted to honour her contribution to science, culture and education, particularly in Scotland. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate, I present to you for the honorary degree of Doctor of the University, Heather Reid.
Thank you so much for those incredibly kind words. So, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, fellow graduates and distinguished guests, many, many thanks for this tremendous honour and for welcoming me into the Open University family. I'd like to thank Hazel for her very kind words and to everyone involved in the Open University in Scotland for making today such a wonderful occasion. I'm also delighted to have in the audience my mum and my 11-year-old daughter, Jenna. I know all of us receiving a variety of awards today will want to thank our own families and friends for their ongoing love and very enduring, at times, support. As you heard, I'm passionate about promoting the importance of science and technology, and today seemed an ideal opportunity to say a few words more about this. Of course, here in Scotland, we do have, as Hazel said, an amazingly successful track record in science, innovation and discovery. Discoveries that have saved millions of lives and changed the world in which we live. Such is the global impact of excellent science education and Scottish scientists. So today, having retired as a TV weather forecaster, it was early retirement, I always like to stress. I do now work with a range of organisations supporting the delivery of science in our schools and beyond. And we're also very fortunate here in Scotland to have an incredibly rich informal science learning landscape. The Science Festival was invented here in Edinburgh, and we now have science festivals the length and breadth of this country and around the world. We also have a successful Science Centre network, and I'm delighted that Professor Stuart Munro is also with us today, who has worked tirelessly in this field, and also Professor Leslie Yellowlees, who, as the first female president of the Royal Society of Chemistry, is one of the most fantastic female role models in science that we could hope to have in this country. And there are many, many people and organisations involved in science engagement. And that engagement quite often goes beyond school, involving families, communities, and adult learners. Because as well as inspiring a future generation of scientists, which is hugely important, it's also vitally important that the role science plays within our society is understood and appreciated so that we can all make informed decisions in the future as science and technology increasingly continues to underpin all of our lives. And I think this is where the Open University is playing an incredibly important role, engaging learners of all ages from all backgrounds with relevant topics that will enable a greater awareness of the changing world in which we live. From degrees to diplomas, certificates, short courses and modules in such a wide range of subjects in science, computing, technology, engineering, health, maths, social science, design, environment. I could go on, and I think we will in a short time see a demonstration of this incredibly brilliant breadth and depth of knowledge and subjects. So I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of everyone in the hall and much further afield to thank you, everyone connected with the Open University, and the unique role you play in education here in the UK, the way you can help people not only transform their own lives, but transform the lives of others too. Thank you so very much, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, I shall now present graduates who have gained higher degrees and have been able to attend here today. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, I present to you for a thesis entitled Online Citizen Science Projects, an Exploration of Motivation, Contribution and Participation, Vicky Curtis. and for a thesis entitled Analysis and Control of Transcription Regulatory Networks in Mammalian Cells, Chiara Fricasi. And for a thesis entitled Cellular Mechanisms of Adaptive Immune Reconstitution Following Human Bone Marrow Transplantation, Alessandra Roberto. And for the degree of Doctorate in Education, I present to you for a thesis entitled Transformative Learning in an Online Context, the Experiences of Non-Traditional Students in a Scottish Higher Education Institution, Alice Mongello. I present to you for the degree of Master of Arts in Education, John Walker. For the degree of Master of Arts in English, I present Alison Blackmore. Ronald Cassidy. And Dima Wanu. For the degree of Master of Arts in Social Sciences, I present Ruth Tudor. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, I present Alexandra Corza. Fiona Clapp. John Hutchinson. David Norris. And Andrew Whiffen. For the degree of Master of Education, I present Angela Lindsay. Karen Robinson. For the degree of Master of Science in Environmental Decision Making, I present Dougal MacLeod. For the degree of Master of Engineering, I present Michael Meehan.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, graduates, guests. Karen McClusky is a former nurse and forensic psychologist. She joined Police Scotland in 2002, and since then she has played a pivotal role in spearheading community-focused initiatives that have resulted in a dramatic reduction in the number of murders and violent crimes across Scotland. Observing that police techniques such as crackdowns, increased foot patrols, and stop and search were not working, Karen and her colleagues set up what is now known as the Scottish Violence Reduction Unit, which was built on the principles of a successful American scheme called Community Initiative to Reduce Violence. When Karen and her colleagues began to develop their Scottish version of this initiative, there were 134 murders in a year, and the extent of violence was significant. The interventions driven by Karen and published in a report in 2004 adopted a public health approach that focused on preventing violence at a societal level involving everyone. Today, Karen is director of that unit, and murder rates in Scotland are at their lowest for over 40 years. Consequently, our country is a different place because of the work of everyone involved in preschool care, in education and academia, in healthcare, and in the criminal justice system in changing outcomes. The number of people carrying knives is at an all-time low, and the outcomes for young people are greatly improved. Although the benefits to citizens and to our communities are easy to see, the financial gains also point to an amazing success. The programme cost £4.8 million in its first 2 years, with funding provided by the Scottish Government and by local partners and other services. But when compared with the average cost of a murder inquiry at £1.3 million and a year in prison costing £49,000, it is clear that the programme soon paid for itself in the savings that it made. Building on this work, Karen also supports the charity Medics Against Violence. This organisation sends volunteer doctors with professional or personal experience of violence into Glasgow secondary schools to influence pupils' attitudes towards knife and gang crimes. The charity also trains health professionals to recognise the signs of abuse, to be aware of its implications, and to provide support and advice to its victims. Karen's spirit, drive, research and implementation skills demonstrate her exceptional contribution to the community that she serves through the reduction and prevention of violence, not just in Glasgow, but across Scotland and further afield. Her holistic vision has driven that success from intervention in the very young through to getting into work people who have had convictions so that their children's lives may be changed. It is no surprise, therefore, that as a university centred on transforming lives, the Open University celebrates Karen's remarkable success here today. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate, I present to you for the honorary degree of Master of the University, Karen McClusky.
This is actually really nerve-wracking. And I feel such a fraud because I'm getting this honorary masters and you've all worked so hard for it, which actually gives me some delight. So, thank you so much for this opportunity. I have been smiling from ear to ear since I found out this, you know. I don't normally get to talk about nice things, and I'm normally referred to as the violence woman, which is the reason I didn't get married until 2 years ago, because it wasn't a great selling point for me. So
Thank you so much to the Open University and to everybody here. It has been such a spectacular day. And I have to say, when everybody was standing up, I suddenly found it really moving. I've been so privileged to work in an area I love, and I could go on forever, so they've been asked to taser me off after 2 minutes. You know, I work in preventing violence and I do gang exit. Reducing murder has been such a huge part of the journey to making Scotland one of the best places to grow up as a child. But you know, sometimes, see, when we consider the complexity of the society we live in, we get overwhelmed. I remember the first time I said to someone really senior, do you know something, I want to reduce violence, and what he said to me was, it's too big, don't bother. And I never went back to see him, because you only get 3 choices in this life. You can lead, you can follow, or you can get out of the way. That's it. That's the only choices. So, I'm here to tell you that great things can happen and are possible if you get enough positive people moving in the right direction. You can change people's lives for the better, and in doing so, you can change a country. I know Scotland's better now. I know Scotland's safer now, but we're not there yet. We have too many people whose lives are blighted by violence, domestic abuse, and inequality. So there can be no complacency, so I need everybody here to do something, whatever it is, to try and reduce it going forward, because we've got to keep trying, all of us, for we're presented with the opportunity to make some huge change, to change the destiny of some of the most excluded in our country, and to improve their outcomes and those of their children. This is within our grasp. Have the most spectacular day. Thank you for all the relatives here, because I know that you've done the most work. I hope that the future holds great things for you. And my only advice is, be fabulous. You know, be exceptional. And go forward in life with some hope and aspiration, and involve everybody else in the things that you're doing. Thank you very much indeed.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, we now come to the part of today's ceremony that marks the presentation of graduates who have gained a first degree and have been able to attend here today. The full subject and classification details are printed in the Directory of Graduates. I present to you, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts with First Class Honours, Don Abbott. Tony Alderson. Jonathan Atkins. Penelope Burke. Pam Brown. David Cass. Jeff Duncan. Mandy Fay. Olivia Fraser. Carly Hudson. Andrew Jepson. William MacDonald. Judith Reid. Simon Reid. Elizabeth Shaw. Rita Stringfellow. Martina Tennant. And Rachel Walker. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, I present William Andrew. Jennifer Atkins. Lisa Balfe. Sally Bentley. Clareline Blanche. Ian Bowman. Megan Boyle. Alison Breckens. Emma Brennan. Elizabeth Campbell. Joyce Campbell. Linda Campbell. Emily Carter. Chalk. Sarah Cowan. John Craig. Devon Daly. Vicky Diath. John Disbury. Rosanna Doyle. Fiona Embleton. Rebecca Ferguson. Jan Philidor. Catherine Follows. Joanne Foster. Jessica Garraway. David Gill. Alex Gillespie. Lorna Graham. Helen Hale. Stacey Hall. Lorette Haworth. Philip Henry. Noel Igo. Stephanie James. Jennifer Jobling. Danielle Johnson. Julian Judge. Lorraine Keane. Stuart Kennedy. David Kinder. Ruth Lawson. Bruce Leslie. Simon Lyle. Claire Lucas. Janet McClymont. Audrey McGregor. Diane McCain. Ian McKinven. James Middleton. Rebecca Milburn. Sharon Moran. Brenda Moreland. Suzanne Monroe. Mary Murray. Michelle Newton. Raymond Patterson. Sarah Patterson. Karina Primavesi. Carol Radcliffe. Lisa Radden. Alison Raybould. Claire Ridges. Patricia Robertson. David Roger. Robert Salvin. Tracy Sheraton. Kerry Shorten. Angela Smith. Finley Smith. Victoria Smith. Maxine Storer. Nicholas Strouts. Julie Summerscales. Lynn Taylor. Stephen Torbett. Penelope Veach. Evelyn Wallace. Samantha Wallace. Robert Waugh. Susan Webb. Katie West. Ruth Wright. Gwyneth Young. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, I present Annabelle Mona Bagheri. June Baird. Annabelle Burns. Angela Gillespie. Fiona Gray. Alicia Hunter. Aileen Mayer. Sarah McGilchrist. Andrew Ruff. Denise Simpson. Morag Stevenson. Laura Thorburn. And James White. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with Honours, I present Christopher English. Mark Jameson. And William Lamb. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws with Honours, I present James Niven. Jeremy Stebbing. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours, I present James Bailey. Alyssa Buckman. Julie Christie. Evans. Susan Goodwin. Stephen Hayward. Kirsten Jenkins. Vicky Lockhart. Kirsty McMenamin. Lindsay Rendell. Vivian Robertson. Kevin Ward. And Ian Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, I present Stephen Andrade. Elliot Baird. Linda Bernard. Emma Louise Bolland. Catherine Brown. Ian Campbell. Honora Campbell. Adam Cleaver. Helena de Castro-Toni. Andrew Diffin. Bushra Falak. Really loud. I have to say it really loudly. Bushra Falak. Jill Farnham. Pamela Fraser. Stephen Gordon. Pauline Grant. Annette Hampson. Susan Hiles. Wendy Hooley. Natalie Innes. Jane Jack. Jamie Joyce. Caroline Keenan. Eve Keepax. Simone Loafer. Gina LeBlanc. Karen McPherson. Cherie Mayer. Roseanne McGee. David McGowan. Mary McGuinness. Duncan McIntosh. Fiona McLean. Laurie McNulty. Kevin Metcalf. Gemma Moody. Victoria Moran. Stephen Nelthorpe. Victoria Parker. Kirsty Phillips. Dominic Reesey. Michael Ross. Laura Scott. Jennifer Shackley. Uzma Shazad. Karen Strang. Anita Sullivan. Charlotte Tamayo Pereira. Karen Teasdale. Rosalind Tennant. Maria Tubex. And Emile Van Loo. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, I present Hilda Barclay. Martin Bray. Louise Campbell. Jane Carnegie. Maureen Dray. Micheline Galliers. Craig Hogg. Catherine Logan. Archibald MacDonald. Lorna McCalman. Laura Much. Heather Nyblock. Graham Owens. Sandra Ridings. Laurie Vernon. And Jacqueline Wilson. For the foundation degree, I present Alison Aird. And for the Diploma of Higher Education, I present Margaret Chalmers. Judith Dunn. Helen Lamb. Vivienne Leask. Carol McInnes. Jennifer Richardson. And Jane Scott.
Phew. And I might add, there were a few hands in there that just kind of grabbed me, and I just thought, stop, there's another 100 hands behind you. One of the best things about this role and the job that I've been doing at the Open University is that I get to come to graduation. And over this last 12 months, I've probably done 14 or 15 ceremonies. And every single one is different and special. Every single face that comes across that stage and every single hand somehow portrays a different story. And so even if we had a little bit of dancing, we had a few sort of, guns in the air and whatever other gestures that you have, it all means something to you. But equally for me, it keeps me incredibly energised, and it reminds me what our university is here for. And so I just, from my heart to yours, I just congratulate you, because I know how hard that journey has been for you. I was going to give sort of like a proper full speech. I've kind of given up on those because I think the honorary graduates give much better speeches than I do. And so I'm just I freewheel it a bit. So I want to sort of get you to interact with me if I can. And I just want to sort of talk about how amazing you are. And let's just sort of do a few statistical things here. So put your hand up if you're currently working full-time or part-time. Is that nearly everybody? Really? How amazing. How many of you have also got children? And how many of you have had a child while you were studying? And how many of you are expecting right now? Yeah. Okay. So when I look at that and I think, oh my goodness, we talk about this being part-time study. Well, honestly, what is part-time about you working full-time, running your families, studying at the same time, working at the same time, and trying to have fun? What is part-time about that? Very little. I think you're extraordinary people. And if I was an employer sitting in this room, I'd say, I want an OU graduate. Because what you have to offer is a set of attributes that I think society needs. You're disciplined, you know how to manage yourself, and probably others by the sounds of it. You know how to organise your time, how to fit everything in. You know how to balance the complexity of what life throws at you. And you know how to do that over the long distance as well. So some people today said they've been studying for 10 years, some for 15. Somebody from back in 1983. And some people for 3 years and some people for 2 years. But the majority of people take 6 to 7 years to complete their degree. Now that's a long haul, isn't it? It's a long time to kind of put your life a little bit on hold. And look what you've achieved today. And you can make such a huge difference. So I'd like everyone here to give you a round of applause, because we know how hard that's been. You're very special people. There are probably a few other thank yous I'd like to do. All the staff that answered your phone calls, your emails on your journey, all the associate lecturers that were with you in your tutor groups, the academic central staff who have developed outstanding world-class materials. All of those people can't possibly be here today. That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? But a small handful of them are up here on the stage. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd like us to thank them for supporting you on your journey. There are another group of people, potentially they're a little bit long-suffering, because whilst I understand and appreciate that being an OU student is hard work, I suspect so is living with one. So I think, graduates, if you wouldn't mind standing and finding your family in the crowd, you should give them a round of applause for being beside you in this journey. You graduate today with a first-rate qualification that is recognised around the globe. You're taught by the best, You have the most top-rated research that you can imagine. We even landed a robot on a comet last year, and it doesn't get much better than that. You're also a fantastic community, and without your peers, I'm sure it would have been much harder. Whether you were in a Facebook group, whether you're on a university forum, or even on Twitter, and I love to follow you on Twitter. One of you said about 2 months ago, we are a breed unto ourselves, a patchwork of different shapes and sizes. I mean, how true. Look at you here today. So stay in touch, not only with each other, join the alumni, stay in touch with us as a university, get active, really support us. Because this is a university that stands for social justice, equality, and education for all. And finally, I've got one last little thank you, because there are lots of little people here today, and lots of little people that got dressed up extra special, who came to watch their mum, their dad, their sister, their brother, their aunt, their uncle, their grandma, their auntie, whoever, cross the stage today. And you sat still for so long, so lovely and well behaved, you probably deserve extra special treats after this. I hope I said the right thing. Children, just remind your parents. I'll get into trouble later. But I think what you should take away, children, today is that the people that walked across the stage will one day want to see you walk across this stage as well. So watch out for that moment, because they're going to be very proud of you, and they're going to be clapping you as you walk across and receive your qualification. So, graduates, be proud of this university, and I hope you will shout loudly whenever you can, I studied here. The proceedings of this degree ceremony have been completed, and I now declare this meeting of the congregation closed. The piper will now provide us with a musical farewell, at the end of which I would ask all of those who are able to stand to please do so.